Hey everyone, it's Diane, and I am spending a little time working on the document journals using Lorna Taylor's materials, both her digitals and her physical stamps and stencils. And I am feeling better despite what I sound like. So we're just going to play today. I don't have a lot of time. My daughter and I went to get our nails done, and I selected this pink color with the silver sparkles, and he cut my nails really short and then filled half of it with sparkles. It's just supposed to be on the tips, but it's okay. I told my daughter I'll like it in 2 weeks' time when it grows out a little and has, I don't know. I like it. It's okay. And you have to pay extra for the glitter, so he probably thought I wanted to get my money's worth. I don't know. Anyway, there could be worse things, right? So I made this card as a closure, and I've seen other people do this. I would never have come up with this idea myself. So I stamped one of Lorna's stamps on a cream-colored cardstock and embossed it with gold embossing powder. And then I tore, or actually it's coffee dyed paper. And then I tore a pink dyed paper, which I believe was pink paper dyed with coffee. I don't remember. And just to give it a really thin color around it. And then I glued it all to the cream colored cardstock, and I had this boho, or what is it called? Sari silk in between the pink and the cardstock. And then you can tie it. Added the rosettes. So I'm just going to set this aside. You can tell my voice comes and goes, depending on how long I use it. I want to make sure I include a doily or two, so I'm going to slip one in here right now while I see them here and remember. I'll put it right here. You can see I collated my pages. I was thinking about not collating them, just decorating them, so I would have them stacked, and I would decorate this digital for all 3 journals and decorate all the pages however I wanted them and then put them together, but I just can't do it that way. So we went back to this. And I printed some of Lorna's French receipts. Most of them are full pages. Most of those are full pages. I'm sorry, I had a message on my Fitbit. I had to check it out. But a couple of them have smaller pieces, so I printed those. And I think one is still sitting on the printer because it was still printing when I went to grab these a little while ago. And her French checks. I printed this one twice because I liked the green. But there's a lot of pages in both of these. There's more than one set of French checks, and I think there's probably more than one set of French receipts. So I will be cutting them and making them look older. I printed them on my thinner paper so they would look more vintage, and they will be being inserted into pockets and things like that. I also sewed some coffee dyed muslin to the back of the cardstock cover. And I'll probably add pockets or something to that. And I just sewed this vintage crochet trim. This is the one with the blue cover, so I put this blue edged crochet trim on the edge of that. Added this little piece of, it's a trim, but it's a fabric with some lace on it, and you can tuck something up in there. And this is a very old agent's order slip, and it was cracked into 2 pieces, and so I glued it down, and I have 3 of these, so each journal can have one. One of them isn't cracked like that. The other two were cracked in the exact same spot. And this one, I could have pushed it together, but I just kind of pushed it aside, and I wanted it to look shabby. So I think that's all I've done. Well, I did add the pocket here, the envelope that we decorated, and boy, my voice sounds good now. And I added one of the French checks, and I will antique that, but I just wanted to see how to fold it to stick it in there. And I think that might be all I did. Oh, I added the belly band. So what I want to do today is stamp right on the pages with my Lorna stamps, or add some of these pieces that I've already cut. I have these frames. I'd like to add, you know, some of these 3D embosslet things. So we'll just go through the book and add stuff as we want to. And I wanted to mention that Lorna has some small ephemera too, like I think it's called Vintage Ladies or Lovely Ladies. And these are just small images of ladies, and you get a lot of pages. So I bought this and printed these a long time ago, years ago, and I've used some, and I still have this many left. So I thought I would add those in here somehow. And she also has vintage photos, and so I have some of those here. I've had those for a long time too. So that's enough talking. Let's keep on going through the journal. This is a very thin tissue paper. It came out of a book, so it was, the page was this wide, and I folded it because I didn't want to lose that letter that's stamped up there. Number, I mean. So I don't think I'll do anything to that. Just leave it in there. But this could use some stamping. So do we want to stamp, or do we want to add an element that's already been stamped? This is the same paper that I stamped this on. The ridges go this way. So I wouldn't put that on because it's the same color. It's the same one too. So I have all my stamps piled up over here, and I just have these. Oh, by the way, that lady that I stamped for the cover, the card closure, is from La Mode. It's this, and it's a nice big stamp, as you could see. So I just have these so I can look at them and see what kind of a stamp I might want to look for. And I do want to make a lace or fabric sample card, but I'm not going to do that today. I think I will glue this here and then stamp this so it kind of goes off onto the back side. This was stamped onto a kind of a handmade type of paper. so it's very cottony. I love it. This book's going to take me forever if I feel like I have to ink even the pages. They're one signature books, but I'm putting quite a few pages in them and doing a lot to each page. Well, I haven't yet, but I probably will. This is that printing press paper when I did my silent movie, when I had no voice. I showed this pack, and it says best writing paper, 12 sheets of laid paper with 10 envelopes, and it was just wrapped up in a sheet of the same paper. And I bought this so many years ago when my daughter was still a teenager in Colonial Williamsburg. We went to see a working printing press. Man was dressed in colonial costume and talked about the printing process, and there were things you could buy. And I bought that set, and it had a quill pen inside it and an envelope of powdered ink that you could reconstitute and use, which I never did. But I've been hoarding this paper, and I've used it sparingly, but you could see, how many pages did it say? 10? And I still have at least 4 in that pack, I think. 12 sheets of paper, and I've used 1 in each of the 3 journals, and I still had several pages left in there, so I have barely used it, but I decided it's time. It's time to use my stuff. I never bought it for junk journaling because I didn't even know what junk journaling was at the time. I just bought it because I've always been a paper lover. And I'm sure I was making cards at the time, but I didn't use that for card making. There are a lot of different types of images in this Vintage Lady set. Lovely lady. There's some Art Deco and Victorian and boho. I think I'll stamp a couple more for the other journals while I have this out. I won't ink it around it, I'll just stamp it. I'll do that one. And this one. And I'll just paper clip that right there. So I think, oh no, this was going to go on the back. I think that page is done. Going to glue this closed. I'm sure I have one of those that's already inked, but I'm sure I can't find it when I want it. Well, oh, here it is. And I want to add antique things like, well, and vintage, like perfume or apothecary labels, and some real checks. I want to use some of the digital ones, but I'd like to include at least one real vintage or antique check in these journals. But I haven't gotten all that stuff out yet. And I have some real calling cards. Lorna does have a set of calling cards, and I thought I had them, but I can't find them either printed or in my digital file, so must be I didn't buy that. I think it goes that way. This was just a frame stamp that I stamped onto a blue paper that I coffee dyed. And of course, I will have to find things to tuck in there. I think I just want to add some lace to this. I want to do something else to this. I've got all these pieces of sheer lace and tulle and stuff. I want to use some of it. This looks like it was part of a little girl's half slip, and I love it. Have that tattered edge hanging off. And I think I'd rather sew it than glue it. I'll do it down here. That looks quite nice. I like that. I want to add a fabric pocket, so I want to make sure that I leave a space for that. Gotta be careful with that tissue so it doesn't get folded the wrong way, creased the wrong way. Anything I do in here has to be pretty skinny, and this, the further you get into the center, the skinnier the pages are. Because I trimmed them, I didn't want them sticking out. So I'm thinking of putting the fabric pocket here, so it would be a really small pocket. And what kind of fabric would I use? I could do a lace pocket, but no, that would get lost on that print. Maybe I'll just do a piece of vintage linen and keep it neutral. Something like this with that open work. Yeah, I like that. And this I will sew to the page, I think. I'm just going to cut it to size and kind of clip it here so I don't forget what I want to do on this page. I can get a couple pockets out of this with the nice finished edge on two pieces. And I think I'll put a nice long tag in there so I can make this a kind of a long pocket. That's the finished side. So I guess I'll put it on this side. And I could stamp something on this pocket. Maybe this one. Perfect. I gotta get my wet wipes out of the closet. This is a dry one. Let it soak in. Oh, that looks cute. I got some of these vintage hand crocheted cotton trims last year, and I absolutely love them. There wasn't a huge quantity of them, but I'm using them. So I will sew that on, and I will sew this to the page. Then I'll have to make a long skinny tag. Okay. Vintage postcards is another of the antique things that I want to include. I have this playing card that I thought would be fun to tuck in somewhere. This, I'm afraid, will be fragile. It doesn't look cracked or anything, but it's not like high quality paper and it's vintage, so I'm going to put something down the edge there. Maybe I could cut a strip of this wallpaper. That's pretty. It's one of Lorna's, I think it's in the Toile wallpaper collections. Is this long enough? Yes. I'll just cut it about 1 1/4 inches. I went to 2 post offices yesterday before I realized that it's President's Day, that it was President's Day. I'm filming this on Tuesday. I went to Waverly and I could go in. The lobby was open. But I went in and the windows were closed, the service windows. And I didn't know why. That happened to me once before. I went in there and there were other people in the lobby kind of confused as to why the windows were closed in that post office. So I took my bags of packages, because I had a bunch, took them down to Athens. And that door was locked. Couldn't even open it and go in. And that's when I read the sign and saw that it was President's Day. I brought everything home. Then I packed more orders. And I took everything today. I think that was there, right? Now this could be a problem. Well, you could flip this out and write, because you wouldn't want anything underneath this fragile paper while you try to write. I gotta do something with this bag. What time is it? I got about 10 minutes or more. I think I'm going to leave it white, and don't know if I want to try to make something to go in there, but I could put something, attach something to a flap here, so have a little page or a card or something on that. I don't know what yet, so I'll figure that out. And here I think I'll stamp some journaling lines actually with this piece of corrugated cardboard, and I'll do brown ones. And here I can add a piece of trim. This is the same paper that I used for the closure card. I could put that on as a little tuck spot and then maybe tuck that in there. I was just going to glue it down. Or, I don't have a lot of space to work with the width of this, but if I put these together and made it one tuck spot, then I could tuck a postcard or something in there. Now, if I had more space, that might work. So what do I want to do? I could put this here and make this, got a crack right there. So I guess that paper is a little too fragile. I was thinking I could, have it wrap around and then have a little tuck spot here. I have these that are already cut. I think some things are fun to stamp where you don't have the whole image included. Have it run off the page or run off the piece that you're stamping on. Let's see if we like it with this. Yeah, I'll use the brown again. And then that would just be a nice little tuck spot right there. Maybe with this. This is just so pretty, and I've had it for a long time. Don't know if I want the corner. I can save that for something else. I'm going to have to let this dry before I glue this down, because that glue will come through that nutting and stick to that, and I want to make sure it stays a tuck spot. This is pretty dark, so I don't know if this will help at all, but it's printed on white paper, so I don't want white edges showing. Then I'll have to make another long skinny card or tag to go in there. Do I want this to be a tuck spot? Let's see. Open it like that and flip this open. I think I like it better like this. And I suppose I could put something little in there. Can't stick out very far because it's be right up with the fold. It's another piece of vintage lace that I wish I had more of. So the card, where are we time-wise? Oh, we gotta go. The card would have to be about 3 1/4 inches wide by 9 1/2. I'm gonna write that down. 3 1/4 by 9 1/2. Let's just take a quick flip through before we go. I should probably color the back of that. Maybe I'll leave that in there. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll put a real antique calling card in there. I just have to do the yellow page and this sheet music. And maybe some stuff on the backs of these. Put something in there. Put something in the pockets. That's a tuck spot there. Yep, we're coming along. And this was fun, just having a very random and, what's the word, impromptu type of crafting. I had absolutely no plans for decorating, and it was fun to just go through and think of something as I came to each page. Hope you enjoyed that session, and I'll be back again soon. Have a creative day. Bye-bye.